Today, I'm going to unbag Stout Heart's Battle in the Hedgerows. This is a game from Tiny Battle Publishing, which was kind enough to send me this copy, so I want to thank Mark Walker for that. And it's designed by Jay Ward, and Jay Ward has designed this solitaire system, which this is a solitaire system dealing with World War II, but he has other games in this line or system or that use this system. The first one I came across was the Battle for Ramadi, which deals with the final assault on the city in December of 2015. And it uses this system. And then there's another game that I have from Mr. Ward in YAAH magazine, which is kind of the somewhat of a house organ for Flying Pigs or Tiny Battle. And this is the Battle of WWII, dealing with Vietnam, that famous kind of a siege during Vietnam. And this uses that same system as well. From Jay Ward. So let's get into Stout Hearts, which is the latest release from Jay Ward using this system and published by Tiny Battle Publishing. Back there's not much to see. This is Ziploc, so you can see the counters and the map. Let's get into the bag proper. Hope you're all doing fine today or tonight or this morning, whenever you watch this. Always appreciate you stopping by and spending some time with me. Greatly appreciated. So here are the rules. And this game is not an overly complex game. It's solitaire, and it's got a built-in AI system that deals with how the counters are engaged and flipped over, and then what happens after that. But it's takes a little bit getting used to, but once you understand how it works, it flows relatively quickly, and it's not overly complex, and it still does an interesting job of managing the opponent or the AI. Here are the rules, which we have on the back. We have a terrain effects chart here. The rules are 15 pages. But you've got a picture of the map there, so really looks like there's 14 pages with a bibliography at the end, designer notes, historical notes. So really, we keep on having less pages of rules because that's all background stuff. Here's unit descriptions. This is somewhat important, so I'd kind of consider this part of the rules. It's 13 pages, so going up to 13 pages on the rules. But these are somewhat important because it shows you it tells you a little bit about the unit effects, because again, the AI system is all based on these units. They're going to be hidden, and then when you engage them, they're flipped over, and then they have certain effects of what happens to those units. So these charts are relatively important to the game. Optional rules here on page 10. So really, 10 pages of text rules. Let's start at the beginning now. We've got a table of contents. We've got the British forces. You are playing the British forces in World War II, going up against the Germans and going through the hedgerows. So hence some of the descriptions of this game. Here's the key concepts. You've got German zones of control, British lines of communication, line of sight, stacking. And here's playing the game. There's a general outline, setting up the game, and there's somewhat of a randomized setup. So there's some built-in replayability here. The game's not going to be exactly the same every time, especially when you're putting out the German units. There's I think 3 different lines that you put out based on their notation, whether it's like A, B, or C. So you're going to have the units are not always going to be in the same spot at the same during the same game. And so again, some built-in randomization and replayability. German deployment. Here's your detailed sequence of play. And again, this is dual column with color and with charts intermingled with throughout. A lot of different charts here. And then you've got resolve combat action, German counter attack. Again, more charts, line of communication, flank process, and operation interface. Then you have victory determination, right? And there you have it. So, I mean, not a ton of rules. And the rules are kind of taken up in large part by some of these charts here that manage the game. So, again, this isn't an overly complex system. It is solitaire, and you do have to kind of learn its procedure or process, which is kind of common in solitaire games. They're usually very, sequential and very programmed. You follow this, this, and this, and that's how the built-in AI reveals itself. So, but solid system and a good one at that. Here's a player aid, very thick player aid here that has your sequence of play. Again, always very important in a solitaire game, important in every game, but solitaire especially. You've got a company strength point table, weather, barrage table, British unit move within 2 hexes, in line of support of German position. So I guess that's like determining when you turn over a hidden unit or activate it or engage. Suppression fire, flank process table, assault routine, counterattack routine, counterattack procedure. So all that on a thick piece of paper there. Oh, this is thick as well. And this is I think this is kind of one of your administrative tracks where you're going to you have your start line forming up in place, reserve. So this is where your units are going to be coming from. You got your battalion headquarters, asset availability, assets expended, assets destroyed, your initial strength, rally roll, and company track. And you'll keep track of the strength of your companies on this track here, kind of off board of what's on the board. Here's your game track turn and victory point track here. Sorry, get a little bit more better view of that. So this is one-sided, I'd imagine. Yep, because this is going to be off to the side of the board. All your administrative type tracks right there. And it's thick and good quality. Then we get to the map, which is interesting because the map is not as thick as this. But then again, you might put this under plexi. So, if you're a war gamer, you've got plexi somewhere in the house. I just know you do. Or if you're like me, you go out and buy a cheap picture frame from Walmart and use the plexi from that. And the wife goes, "Where did my picture frame go to?" I don't know, dear. So here's where you're going to be starting. You have your left, center, and right. There are row indications here because that will factor in play a little bit. You have some of these blue here, yellow here, and then red here. Those are those 3 different lines or cups or buckets or bowls or whatever you want to use to put the German units in, and then you'll randomize them and then lay them out here for setup. So there's going to be a different setup for every game in that regard. And then I think these might be victory locations or something like that. So you're trying to move forward and get through these hedgerows. There's all these little hedgerows here. You're trying to get through that and get as far far north as you can. And again, that's part of the victory conditions. Let's look at the counters. And the one thing I have to say about all 3 of these games have similar counters, similar in a couple respects. They're all, tiny battle publishing counters. And I'm not, they sent me this game, so I'm going to, say nice things. But they also, I'm going to be, true to myself. I'm not a super fan of the counters. Now, these seem to be pretty good. Nice thickness. I like the thickness. That's something that's common with all their counters. They're very, at least for these 3 games, very thick counters. Big size. I shouldn't say thick, but good size counter, extra large counters, and decent thickness. But some of the games, I think like the one for Hue, I felt like these were almost like stickers. It felt like these could peel off and weren't on all that solid. But these look pretty good. These feel better than some of the other ones. Maybe it might be just a production issue, or it's Tiny Battle Publishing is just that. It's a small publishing company. And so, they do with what they can. But these counters seem pretty nice and good size, and decent thickness, and look like a little bit better quality than maybe I've had in some of the other games. They fall out pretty easy because I'm just pulling these up and they're falling out. Here's some of your administrative markers. These are the couple of the ones that fell out. You see the notation there, A and B. Well, that I think the A's go in here, B's go there, and C's go there, I think. And then they're hidden. There's just the German notation, and then you've got what that unit is once it's engaged or revealed or what have you there. These come out pretty quick. You got some stonk there, and smoke. So that's one of the counter sheets. Looks like you got 3 counter sheets here. Then we've got some more Germans, and then your British units, and I can just barely touch that, and that's already starting to come out there. So come out relatively good. Another thing that people might not like about the counters is it has side nibs or center nibs or whatever you want to call it. I really don't think you need to clip these. I don't know, I think they look fine with it rounded, but some people might not like and those nibs really don't show up that much, but each to their own, right? And so there's the back showing some of the things that you might uncover with the different Germans. As I said, just flipping these over, these are kind of starting to pop out here a little bit. Then we have this one, and we got one that got away. This one right here. See a real close-up of the 5th Wessex Major C Company. So this is the headquarters. So some people might not like those center nibs. Those don't bother me as much. But there is an example of the counter there. And then here are the rest of that counter sheet. And you are going to have some tank support. Here's some Churchills. And that's kind of a randomized thing too, whether you can get them, off of allocated assets and get them into the activation. There's I think, a chart or a process for that. And then these are double-sided here. And I said just touching that barely, you get this popping up there. So there you have it. There are the counters. This is what you get in a bag of Stout Hearts, Battle in the Hedgerows. I'm liking kind of where this system is going. I've watched some playthrough on this one, so I can familiarize myself, so I can get right into this because I want to try this out. I've played Battle for Ramadi more than I've played Battle of Hue, and Hue seems kind of small, or at least feels smaller than any of these. These feel like there's a little bit more there. I think there might be a little bit different scale involved as well. This is just a portion of the Battle of Hue during the Vietnam, and of course with modern weapons, it has a little bit different dynamic of the combat and what's going on there. It has some unique units and what have you. But I'm liking how this is progressing. We've got 2015. We've got the Vietnam War. Now we have World War II, and this system seems to handle those different eras equally well. And so that's encouraging, and I do like how this plays out. It's an interesting system. If you like solitaire, you owe yourself to at least try this out. Try any one of those 3 games. I don't know if there's more. I know of those 3, and those might be the only 3. But if this one turns out relatively successful, then maybe they're going to keep doing this or taking this system to different battles or different time periods. Who knows? I like it. I'm glad that Tiny Battle Publishing sent this to me. Thank you, Mark, because I'm interested in exploring this, and I'm going to try to do might do some gameplay or after action when I get a chance to break it out on the table. But that's what I have for you today. Love to know your thoughts on this game, on this system, on any of the other games in this system. And what you think about it, how does the solitaire play, or, if you're not a solitaire fan, then, maybe this isn't your cup of tea, but maybe it's something you might want to try out. Or, you know, just how it's been taken to different theaters and different battles. You know, love to know anything you have to say about that, because it's all fair game. Anyway, that's what I have. Thanks again so much for stopping by. Greatly appreciate it. And have a good one. Thanks for watching.